My hair looks about as good as I feel right now. And if you comment and say that my hair and makeup looks nice, thank you. But you don't have to lie. It's not improv, it's just lying. Hello, Friendzies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this video that I've kept putting off without meaning to. I fully intended to have this out in June. That's why the title of it is so funny to me. However, I'm gonna specifically word it. I have like 2 or 3 ways of phrasing it in my head right now, but you'll know because it'll be down there. You'll have already seen the title, and hopefully it was clickbaity enough that it got you here. So this this is a long video, and I'm excited for it, but I'm also just like very tired. Anyway, this video specifically is dedicated to, first of all, Reads with Rachel. She is a queer book reviewer, book talker, booktuber. It's YouTube, and she just makes a lot of book reviews about things that are like very popular right now. She does a lot of book reviews about like romantasy books that are popular right now, and she also talks about like Christian fundamentalism and the way it's like snuck into books and everything. It was one of her videos, the video I talked about a month or 2 ago, where I was like talking about religion. It was one of her videos that had made me want to talk about something very specific, but then I forgot what it was and it went off the rails. So I made that video instead. But I really like Reads with Rachel. I think she has like very insightful, important things to say. She's also like an incredible community member in her personal community. She talks about it all the time on her TikTok, on her YouTube, on her Instagram Reels. But also all of her book reviews where she analyzes a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now that's like very cookie cutter, very the same, hilarious. And I think she really drew me in with her showing, like explaining Quicksilver to her husband video. But through her video of the book Gothicana, that's the one, through her Gothicana review, I found Weirdo Book Club, Natalie Megan. This video is also dedicated to her. Honestly, my queens, both of them are queer content creators, so they would have been featured in June together. We're just here in July instead. It's fine. I also love Weirdo Book Club, Natalie Megan. I have watched her 9-hour Haunting Adeline review series with like everything included, and I don't mean to laugh at your pain, but I laugh hysterically every single time I watch it. It genuinely never gets old. I'm gonna be honest, this series that I'm talking about here today, my book review, is not my Haunting Adeline. I can't say that it's my Haunting Adeline. I can't say that it's my Gothicana, which, you know, was how I found Natalie. But, you know, it honestly, I feel like it's getting close to this being my Haunting Adeline and Gothicana. So when the loud trucks finish going by, we're going to get into the review. But a couple disclaimers before we start this, right? I am not here to shit on the romance genre. I'm not here to shit on romantasy. You can read whatever you want, and I'm so happy. My mother's a librarian. If you haven't been here before, hi, hello. My name's Heather. You can call me Sharky. My mother's was a librarian for my entire life, and I'm now a librarian. I am not here to judge you on what you're reading. If you're reading, point blank period, I'm so happy for you. I think it's up there. My favorite book I read when I was like 16, and that favorite book has not changed. And realistically, it's probably not that good. I also think it's considered romantasy. I have never actually looked that up because, again, I read it when I was 16 and I didn't really think about what genre it was. I was just thinking about the story. Now that I'm saying that, I'm pretty sure my favorite book of all time is romantasy. So I'm not here to judge you, and I'm not here to shit on romantasy specifically. Also, this particular book series that I'm talking about, I didn't know that it was romance, point blank period. I'm really not a romance reader. I think the closest thing I was ever getting was YA books, again, when I was 16. Some of those are up there. And it wasn't even romance. I don't think would have been the main genre. I think it would have been like the secondary genre. So again, I didn't know that this was romance when I picked it up. I went off of, I have it next to me, hold on. I literally went based off of the cover, the sprayed edges, and how pretty it is, and the synopsis. I read the synopsis and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I want to hear about that. Because the synopsis was very plot heavy, when the book is not. At this point, there are 6 books. The 6th one is not coming out until next year, I think January or February. I have read all 5 books. I don't have to do that, especially because I have not liked the series the entire time I've read it. I have committed to it though. At this point, I feel like I'm in an unhealthy relationship with the books, but it's actually not that serious because I am aware that at any point I could put these down and never pick them back up again. It is my decision to read books that drive me nuts and that I don't like. I'm doing it anyway. I literally like kind of did like an outline. Literally, this is just the disclaimers page. One more disclaimer before we go into it. This is straight romance. I'm gay. Men do not impress me in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So a lot of my criticisms comes from being entirely unimpressed with men. And also, as a fan fiction girly, as a gay fan fiction girly who has had unrestricted internet access from a very young age, I am big into monster fucking. And it was a big disappointment in this series. That's going to be one of the spoilers for the review. It's a big disappointment because I thought these books were going to have more monster fucking because it's demons, paranormal romantasy. They're just conventionally attractive guys. That's not monster fucking. That's just a conventionally attractive demon. From here on out, this is where all of the spoilers are going to come in because I'm talking about all 5 books that I've read so far that are available to read currently. I have not read the novella that apparently is like technically the first book in this series. I have not read the novella. I cannot find the novella. I do want to read it because I feel like there's like slightly more lore in there and I'm desperate for lore in this fucking series. I only have 3 of the books next to me right now. The other 2 are on my desk because I was making notes about these earlier today and I have to cover the barcode because I'm not trying to dox myself. So I have the first 3 books in the Hellbent series. I think the spines are not... It's supposed to do like... The spines are supposed to show like a demon with a lady on the side of them. If I put them all together, I'll probably show you later. But the overall plot of the Hellbent series is 4 brothers / kings of hell, right? Are demons that have evolved to develop souls because in the lore, I don't know about like demonology and like demon lore in the world and across cultures. I just know in this series, demons do not have souls. These 4 brothers have evolved and developed souls. They decide they don't want to do shit in hell anymore. They come to Earth. However, because they left, there's an imbalance in hell. And the end game of this series is that there's going to be a big battle of some kind. I don't know if all the pussy power of these women that they've all found is going to save us, but it's going to be they're taking down Lucifer. And we will talk about that more in the book 5 section of this. But that is the overarching plot of the Hellbent series. And we're going to talk about book 1 to start with, of course. Again, I'm trying not to dox which library this came from and myself. So this is My Funny Demon Valentine. You can't see the M because it is in fact behind the library sticker. My Funny Demon Valentine. Specifically, the plot for this one is this is the beginning of the brothers coming to Earth. And one of them is Asmodeus, the lust demon, the demon of lust, a lust demon. I don't know. I don't care. And he's described as like tall and pale and long black hair. So I'm assuming anybody you would meet at like a metal concert or like metalheads, that kind of aesthetic. I think that's what we're doing. So the plot of the first one essentially is that they're on Earth. Asmodeus, he's called Ash, has been cursed where he's supposed to be like the demon of lust, but he can't feel anything. I don't know if that's... I feel like that sounds very familiar to me. I don't know if that's a common thing. I also haven't read through these books. Like, I didn't go back and reread the first one. I just finished the 5th one the other day. It's been sitting on the side of my bed. I just finished the 5th one the other day. And I have been reading these since last year when I found them. I didn't go back through and reread it. But Ash is cursed. His brothers are like, come on, man, just like pick a girl and sleep with her. And he's like, I'd rather if people actually were attracted to me. It kind of sucks that people aren't actually attracted to me because it has something to do with his curse. And there's one girl that notices him and they proceed to bone and get involved with the nonsense of them possibly being dragged to hell. And you find out that the girl, her name is Eva. So Eva Eva is the first character that we meet. And the descriptions, I don't know if this is a common thing in romance. Somebody's going to need to tell me. The descriptions of Eva, I cannot tell if she's supposed to be black or if she's supposed to be ethnically ambiguous. Genuinely, I can't tell. And Eva, as well as two other of the women that get paired with these conventionally attractive demons, supposedly, 3 of them are described as like curvy, and the other 2 are apparently this big. They're that big. So I don't know. One of them I think is actually supposed to be fat, and we're going to talk about that when we get to it, but Eva is curvy, and as far as I'm concerned, she's ethnically ambiguous. She is a musician, and she has a really nice apartment in Canada with a grand piano. I'm gonna get into the fucking grand piano. They're in like, does it say specifically in Canada where they are? Okay, sorry, her full name is Evangeline. Okay, but they're somewhere in Canada, maybe Montreal. I think Montreal, and she is a musician, and she somehow can afford this apartment with this grand piano very well. I think that's the thing of romance and romantasy, is I have to suspend my disbelief for a lot of things. And really quick, just to talk about the series, not the one specific book, Aurora Asher, who is the author, I probably should have said that, is fantastic at giving me nothing, me specifically, because again, I know I said this, romance is not necessarily for me. I don't think I will be picking up another romance series after this series. She is very good at giving me specifically just enough plot to get me to read the next book. And she usually adds it right at the end of the book. And then takes away the sucker punch and the like, oh, okay, that's really good, with another useless sex scene. And I get it. I get that romance. I don't know if this is technically romance or erotica, now that I'm saying it. Because again, neither one are genres that I read ever. But she does that. So that's great. Every time I read one of these sex scenes, my eyes just glaze over, except for one sex scene specifically, which is in the first book. The plot of the first book is that, like, demons from hell come here. Eva and Ash meet. Eva breaks his curse. He learns how to feel and love and be almost human through music, but he can still shift into a demon. And he's the most, like, calm out of the 4 brothers that are in this series. And then after this book, he really just has no other personality other than like, this is my woman and I know how to calm one of my brothers down. And that tends to be the theme. I don't know, again, if this is like a common thing in romance series, but same thing happens to Eva, other than being like really nice to other girls, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm never here for girl hate, but Eva being just like nice to other people becomes her only personality trait. Other than mentioning that she plays instruments occasionally, everything you learn about her just becomes set dressing in the rest of the series. And she's mentioned at least once in every single other book. And Aurora Asher does that with all of her characters. That's the main plot. And now for each of the books I want to describe to you. So the romance, the trope, I guess, because I've noticed that a lot of things are no longer like, this is the plot. They come to be, this is the trope. So the trope of this is demon and half angel. Eva's a half angel. She's called a Nephilim? Nephilim? I think that's how you pronounce it, because her father is an angel, or a fallen angel, but not a demon fallen angel. He's just like one that got like kicked out or whatever. The plot's in there somewhere. Again, I haven't reread this book since I read it the first time. And then her mother's a human. So she's a Nephilim, so she has the sight. So when the demons do demon things around humans, she can see that they're being demons, and other humans, like, their minds get like clouded over basically. So they just see like something that like makes sense in their brains, but Eva can see what's actually going on. So I'm going to give you a description of the demon form, of the angel form for Eva, and then we're going to talk about just some nonsense each book, because this is how I want to do my review. So this is where I start telling you that they're just conventionally attractive demons. So let me Let me get in here. Let me find my page. Page 19. We get the description of Ash's demon form. He turns into a demon instead of just being a hot man at the bar. Because they escaped from hell. I'm like trying to remember the plot. Because they escaped from hell, there are creatures, there are other demons, there are gargoyles, there are weird things hunting them because there's a bounty basically for them. And if they can be brought back to hell by like this little freaky gargoyle thing, this gargoyle thing probably gets a lot of privileges and doesn't have to be sent to the Nine Rings, right? That's the vibe. So demons come for them at this bar that they're at, and Eva sees them. I'm going to give you little tidbits. We're going to get Ash's demon description, but we're going to get a little thing before that. Her first thought was that they were costumes. This was Montreal, after all. They were in Montreal, and this city was full of funky people. It was the one reason she loved it here. Great, fantastic. The most noticeable person was huge. Okay, this is Ash. At least 7 feet tall. That's a thing throughout this series. They're all specifically 7 feet tall when they're demons. What part of that appeals to you? I don't know. I understand a tall man. I can see it. I thought I was attracted to men for a long time. I can understand a tall man. I get that. But why 7 foot? What part of that is really doing it for you? I don't understand. And I thought 666 was the devil's number. Why is it 77777 for every single man in this book? 7 feet tall with red skin, curving horns, bat-like wings, and a strangely familiar waterfall of silky black hair. Okay? That's Ash. There's more descriptions in there. I have other pages with descriptions. We're going to do those really quick. I did have to check my notes. Oh, a demon broke into Eva's apartment to get her because the demon can tell that she's a Nephilim. Ash didn't know this because he's fucking stupid. So the demon is threatening Eva, and Ash changes to try to save her, right? First, giant black wings exploded out of Ash's back. Ow. The very same wings Eva had seen back at the nightclub. Similar to the monster, they were black and leathery and had fine finger-like bones separating them into jagged sections and a large curved talon at the top. That's sexy to me because I'm a monster fucker. The rest of this is not sexy to me. Not a hallucination. Then Ash started to ... grow. He got bigger and bigger until he was nearly as large as the other monster, and then his skin turned red. Bright crimson red. Foot-long black claws grew out of his hands. Huge black horns extended from the sides of his head, curving along his skull and then swooping upward to sharp points, just like she had seen at the club. Oh god, Ash really was a demon. I was trying not to read that and laugh because to me that's not sexy at all. I'm picturing this demon red. Okay, the only things that pop up in my mind is like very cartoonish depictions of the devil and like sports fans that paint themselves fully like red, like face, arms, chest. That's what I'm picturing. I don't know what part of that is supposed to be sexy. Good for you, Ash. Now we get to hear about Eva's angel form because apparently she glows. She gets tall and glows, which I love a giant woman. All I want to do is see you turn into a giant woman. Thank you, Steven Universe. But like, you know what? No, never mind. I'm not here to judge Eva. I love Eva, and I think she's great, and I think she deserves better than Ash. I think all of the girls that are part of this should get together and just date each other. What happens is Eva changes into an angel, her angel form, because her dad, who's the Grigori, the angel man, finds out that she's dating a demon, and that's not okay, and he's upset about that, so he chains her up at home. He, like, handcuffs her to something, and then is trying to kill her boyfriend and his brothers because they're demons, right? So she gets pissed off and hulks out, essentially. So Ash feels something in the air, some kind of electricity. Eva was screaming his name, and then strangely her voice sounded amplified, ethereal, haunting. He swept the hair off his face so he could see her, and his mouth fell open. Eva's beautiful eyes were glowing. Glowing. Italicized for emphasis. Oh, and will you look at that? She was growing too. Over 6.5 feet tall, all of a sudden, she stared at him with those glowing eyes and gave a harpy-like shriek of fury. And then, with one smooth jerk, she ripped the wrought iron post that was handcuffed clean off the banister. And then there went his hopes of her not being a Nephilim, but damn, she was hot. Okay. Your girlfriend just turned into an angel hybrid that you didn't want her to be because you were really worried about her being in danger because you came to Earth once and she's like your fated one. I don't think they don't do like fated and like mates in this series. I'm pretty sure they don't. But the only thing he could think about is how hot she is. Wonderful. So I already have beef with all of these books just because of like men. I don't want to do it because I'm going to get mad. So there's a little bit of something in each of these books that like really irritates the shit out of me. Actually, it's mainly this one and then another one, because everything else I can kind of like some of the other ones I can let some of it slide because I'm more irritated with the couple dynamics than I am with the bits of plot. But this book specifically, I told you how Eva's a musician and she lives in an apartment in Montreal. Somehow she can afford it with a grand piano in the apartment. So the lore of that is that when she moved to Montreal after school or something, she found this apartment and the grand piano, it's like a baby grand or something, but it was left by the previous tenant because it's like an old style, like walk up something or other, and they weren't able to take the piano with them. And she pays extra money or like put down extra money on like the down payment or security deposit or whatever to get this apartment because of the grand piano. I need to read this to you quickly because it's in the text. I'm like angrily flipping through. It's literally in the text about this fucking piano. So she's talking about her apartment. She's trying to unwind from seeing demons in a club, and she thinks she's going crazy. Annoyed with her constant obsessing, she scooped Thelonious, her cat, off her lap, dumped him on the couch, and sat down at the grand piano that was her favorite part of the apartment. The gas stove in the kitchen had to be from the 70s, and the wood floors were all slanted in one direction or the other, but she demanded the lease the moment she stepped into the place to see that piano waiting there. Apparently, it had been brought up decades ago by some determined tenant, and no one had ever bothered to move it, which had made Eva a very happy camper indeed, because she's a musician. Her apartment was in an old factory building that had been converted into living spaces with a new business on the ground floor. Bare metal pipes snaked across the high ceiling, and the balcony was just a fire escape with a spiral staircase that led to a shabby, graffiti-ridden alley in the back. She covered the wall of windows with hanging vines and hung canvases of her art all over the walls. Musical instruments leaned in every corner or hung from mounts, and Thelonious roamed about the funky vintage furniture like he was the king of the castle. The walls were bare brick inside, and the big windows rattled when it was windy. It broke her bank to heat in the winter, but she didn't care. It was worth it for the piano. So she's spending extra money on this fucking apartment in one way or the other, specifically about the heat. I thought it was rent originally. It's about the heat. She pays extra money to heat the apartment. Never mind. I was going to go into a mini tangent. I'm not going to do that here. But it broke her bank to heat in the winter, but she didn't care. It was worth it for the piano. Okay? Let's keep that section in mind. Later in the book, and I didn't go find the page. I was furious and I didn't want to. Later in the book, her and Asmodeus fuck on the piano. Sure, maybe that's supposed to be hot and sexy because it's called My Funny Demon Valentine because they connect through music, and especially My Funny Valentine, right? That becomes like their song. They fuck on this piano that she breaks her bank to pay extra to heat in the winter. I'm concerned about the piano breaking. I am not concerned about how hot and sexy it is. And that irritates the shit out of me. All of my friends laugh at me. That's also part of the reason why I decided to finally do like a book review. I've been like toying with it, but I finally decided to do it because the piano, every time we talk about books, I start yelling about this fucking piano because what do you mean you break the bank to heat your apartment that's old, so it's drafty as fuck? If you got exposed pipes and exposed brick, that apartment is drafty as fuck. You're paying extra money that you might not have because you're a musician just to fuck on the piano that you're paying for. What are we doing? I don't like romance books. I I can't even say I like this series because, again, I feel like I'm in a bad relationship with this series where I feel like I can't walk away because I've sunk too much time and effort into these. The piano is what broke me. Book 1. Book 1. What do you mean? That's what pisses me off the most about this specific book. And honestly, this series, this was not a good way to start the series where they fuck on a piano that she puts herself in financial trouble for. I get that there's things that we're supposed to like overlook or not think too hard about. Maybe it's the autism. I'm gonna think about this, especially because you literally, where did it go? Where did it go? Word for word, it broke her bank to heat in the winter, but she didn't care. It was worth it for the piano. So why are you having sex with a demon that gets bigger and is probably like stronger and more powerful when he's in demon form? Why are you fucking on this piano? Why? Why are we doing it? I'm upset. I want answers. I'm never going to get them, but I want answers. Okay, so that was book 1. Then we have book 2, My Demon Hunter. Now, book 2 is interesting because the way book 1 works and the story is told, you think that book 2 is going to be the next brother in the series. There's 4 brothers, right? So you're thinking, all right, 4 books. They're going to have 6 because they keep adding characters in. It goes back to the plot of like, there's going to be a big hell showdown and we're taking Lucifer down, right? In book 1, how I said that the brothers are being hunted because they're not supposed to have escaped hell. There's no reason for them to be on Earth. They should be back in hell. They should be punished, blah, 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 demon stuff. There is a hunter set after them. And I don't know his full name, and I'm honestly not going to bother trying to pronounce it because even the author says in like her author's note or something or somewhere, maybe Goodreads, that she kind of just like put a bunch of names together for him. His name is Mist, and I like Mist. We'll get into that. But Mist is like the hunter. He is the hunter of hell. Like he works for like essentially Lucifer's like right-hand gal. No, they're an evil they them. And they have some like demonic camel pet thing. Don't remember their name either. Paimon? I don't know. Some androgynous motherfucker. See, that's what equal rights are. Even gay people can be evil. Even genderless people can be evil. Incredible. But Mist is like bound to Paimon. Mist is bound to them. He's described as like having kind of like embossed brands on him, and that is like this like the slave. I think that's what they use too. I don't know how we want to word that otherwise, but that is like, that's the bond where like he has to follow orders and he can't stray. That's Mist thing. So he is the hunter and he was sent to look for the brothers. You meet Mist in the first book. He comes and they do give him a little couple chapters here and there where his point of view is put in, where he says things about like, he's always followed the rules. He's always been the hunter, but what would he do if he didn't have to follow the rules? I like Mist. Mist is probably my favorite of the men in this series. And I honestly hesitate to call him a man because Mist is like actual monster fucking, in my opinion. Mist is probably the best one with actual monster fucking. And I like that because if I'm going to be here doing this, at least try to appeal to me a little bit. Nobody asked me to read these books. And the trope of this one, which I don't know, there's maybe like a more succinct trope, but in this one, it's like a demon hunter that tracks and a prophesized witch. Because the girl in this book, Lily, is the shy sister, shy twin sister of this other girl that like, listen, I don't support girl hate, but I fucking hate her sister. We're gonna get into it. Lily is like the sweet, nice one that's like very shy and awkward. She is the only 3 of the curvy female leads that I think is actually supposed to be fat. She's Irish, but blonde. And in my head, because they kind of harp on the fact that the twins are Irish. They kind of harp on that. In my head, she's like a ginger, like Brave Merida level ginger. I think she's said to be blonde in this. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. She glows occasionally until she like taps into her powers at the end of the book. She glows occasionally and she doesn't know why, and it's like a defense mechanism, and she can do like basically like a cool shield thing. I don't remember all her powers. Again, I didn't reread this. But I like Lily. I'm going to talk about like my rating at the end of this, at the end of the video, like how I would rate them in order. Lily and Mist are my favorite couple. And I think they're the least insufferable. They still have their moments, but I think they're the least insufferable. And the like plot for this one specifically is Mist is experimenting with not following the rules all the time and trying to like stay away from his keeper, falls in love with Lily. It is lust at first sight, but it's like they're actually kind of cute. Like I liked them. Their flirting is like kind of cute. He's actually kind of cute about it. I think because he's written as not human, really, they really like go in with like demon instincts because he's the hunter, so he relies on scent and things like that. They really go in with like he is a monster, not a conventionally attractive demon. Mist is more of a monster, more animalistic, and something about that is a lot more appealing to me in fiction than a man. Point blank period, right? So I'm gonna read you Mist's demon form because again, it's much more monster fucking than Ash just turning red and having horns and bat wings. He's hanging out with Eva at her apartment because now Ash lives in Eva's apartment. The brothers moved upstairs, I guess, to like apparently an empty apartment, and Mist lives with them because they have an extra bedroom. So he's hanging out with Eva and she has her period or something. So they move... they're eating popcorn and she wants ice cream, so she's sending Mist to get ice cream, and he's in demon form and he has to go into human form and practice being a human. Okay, that's that backstory. He sat upright. You want me to go to the store? She nodded, but he looked down at himself. His skin was ash gray, his fingers tipped with claws, every tooth in his mouth a razor-sharp point. His eyes were an eerie bright yellow, his pupils thin and slitted like a snake's. His leathery wings draped off the end of the couch, and his tail curled in his lap, long and smooth like a coiled whip. I like that. I like that he's like a freaky little lizard bitch. I'm into that. Monster fucking is so much better than a man. I think they're having sex, and Lily wants to see what he looks like because she wants to not be scared of him, even though she low-key is. Oh, also, the thing about Lily and her twin sister, and it is part of the plot of this book, is like Lily and her twin sister are like prophesized to like defeat a very specific demon or something. So what's his name? Valfor, he's important in the third book. They're like destined to kill him or something. So when they were little, when they were like 18, he found the coven or something that they were hiding with and killed everybody. And Lily's sister knew that or something. I don't know. They have a whole fight about like demons and everything. And then Lily starts fucking Mist and her sister can't believe that she's fucking a demon. Anyway, so I guess Valfor killed her parents and then they ran away to Montreal, the twin sisters, to hide from the demon. And they are like with a coven in Montreal. Oh yeah, that's also important. Yeah, Lily has like wards and stuff in her home to like fend off demons, but like it doesn't, she like, when Mist goes through and they go off, she doesn't think anything of it because she does not want to fuck around and find out about the witch stuff, because she thinks it's specifically the witch stuff is like the reason her parents were killed, because her sister doesn't tell her anything. I don't like her sister. So she's asking Mist to shift for her. Slowly he did. His eyes became yellow instead of amber, and the lemony glow filled the entire orb, save for the vertical slitted pupil in the center. Then ashy gray bled all over his skin, and when it reached his fingertips, his claws grew from them. His wings appeared at his back and unfolded, and she saw his shoulders relax as if he felt more comfortable with their weight. She wondered if it threw off his balance off without them. His tail snaked out and wrapped around her ankle, the soft rope sliding up to her calf where it dangled off the counter. But this time it didn't scare her. Okay, he scared her a bit. He was just so big. That's where it ruins it for me. I don't care that he's bigly huge and has the biggest dick to ever dick. I'm exhausted. Her flat was old and had high ceilings, but his tall wings made them feel low. His hands were twice the size of hers. When he curled his fingers around, her palm disappeared completely. Heart racing, she lifted their joined hands and studied them. Her pale, glowing skin against his dark gray skin made her think of of a yin-yang symbol. Okay? She said something, can I see your teeth? He bared his teeth, her eyes widened. No wonder he made the mark on those necks. Wow, those look even sharper. Okay, so he has the big mouth of teeth, which I actually am kind of into. We're not gonna get into that. But I don't hate Mist. I hate the bigly huge. He's so big. Wow. I get it. The other thing I really don't like about this book, this is we're going to talk about my rating again at the end. This is probably my favorite book out of the series. I don't like the nonsense of this one. The last one was the fucking piano. The nonsense of book 2 is that Lily, okay, again, I think out of the 3 curvy female leads, she's supposed to be fat. I'm going to assume like me fat, maybe bigger. She's supposed to be fat. She is insecure at the beginning of the book. I'm never going to shit on anybody for being insecure and not super comfortable in their body. I think everybody should just feel neutral about their body if they cannot feel fantastic about their body. I'm not going to shit on her for that. Also, she's a fictional character. It doesn't matter. I understand the insecurity, and I can understand like that trope in fiction of like feeling insecure, but then having somebody that finds you like very hot and sexy because you're you, and then feeling comfortable in the skin that you're in. I get it, okay? I'm here, I'm listening. I was gonna be an English major. I dropped out of college. Don't let my mother hear that. I finished a year and then I withdrew, but it's easier to just say that I dropped out of college. I'm here for it. I understand it. However, every single time Mist and Lily have sex in this book, which is a lot. It's a good size book. It has 326 pages. It's a good size book. Every time Mist and Lily have sex in this book, pretty much until like the last one and the second to last one, there is at least a paragraph about this big where she has to take time in her inner thoughts to talk about how insecure she is. I get it. I got it the first time. I don't need to constantly be told that she's insecure in her body, that she's insecure about being fat. I get it. We got it the first time. You can definitely say it the first time, maybe put in a sentence every once in a while, but I don't need at least a paragraph this big every single time they have sex. They have sex so much in this book. I'm tired. Every time I read a sex scene, my eyes just glaze over. The only one that does anything for me is, I think it's the last sex scene in Mist and Lily's book, where in demon form, when he's already inside her, he decides to shift. So inside, we feel some inflation, okay? That's the only one that did anything for me. And that is probably it did something for me because it's also the only sex scene in the entire book that she doesn't spend this much time, a paragraph this big, talking about how insecure she is and how can he find her sexy? Like, she's learning to find him sexy, but how can he find her sexy? You're just fat, bitch. Relax. I knew reading this series. I knew. I had a feeling throughout book 2 who the third book was going to be about. It was confirmed at the end of book 2 what the third book was going to be about and who it was about. I knew I was going to hate book 3 because I hate the main characters of book 3. Demon with benefits. Okay? This is book 3. I fucking hate book 3. Again, I have to stop because I don't want to ruin the end of the video where I do my rating. I hate book 3. It's my least favorite. That's your spoiler for the end of this video. I hate book 3. It sucks. It's bad. I hate both of the main characters. Throughout the first 2 books, these characters are in fact the worst. So it's Meph, one of the brothers, Mephistopheles, is that how you say his name? I can't stand him. He's very much described as like the biggest fuckboy to ever fuckboy. He's like the douchebag gym bro who wears his boxers and then his sweatpants under his ass. He has a big thing for sneakers. Sure, that's like his big personality trait. Apparently he's like a secret softie because he does art. Eva's mom is an artist, and like in book 1, he does something briefly in her art studio when they are at Eva's house. And her mom like really encourages his art. There's attempts at character development here. The only thing about Meph that I find even remotely likable is in book 1, Eva's dad almost kills him. Like, he's actively dying. Like, it's a miracle that this demon man doesn't die. They do like the one thing that you can do to kill demons. Eva's dad almost kills him, and the weapon can't be like pulled out of him because it's like a consecrated blade or whatever. And his brother, while he's trying to pull the blade out of his chest, is like, his hands are melting. So Meth almost dies. And this book explores him acting less like a douchebag, apparently. I don't see it, and I don't agree. It explores that. It explores him finding humanity through art, which I think would have been cool if it was done better. It wasn't done well. And it explores how he has a big aversion to like touch, and he feels significantly different than he did at the beginning of the series than he does in this, because he almost died and his brothers couldn't save him when they've had each other's backs for millennia at this point. That is the only thing about Meth that I like, is that he has the complicated relationship of like touch and learning humanity because he was almost murdered. That's it. That's the only thing I'm going to give Meth. Actually, no, I lied. The other thing I'm going to give Meth is, out of everybody, he has the best demon form, in my opinion. The best creature that he turns into, but you don't get it for 80% of this. I don't know how to count percentages. You don't get the description for most of this book because he is also covered in tattoos. His tattoos, unlike Miss, don't look cool. And in his human form, which he's always in his human form until this book, just look like big douchebag tattoos. He looks like, I think he's described as possibly having melanin. Again, I don't remember, I didn't read it. But in my brain, he's just a white man with like a lot of tribal. He even has some on his face, which made me like it even less. I hate him. The female lead, Iris, I don't have a lot of opinions about her. And again, I'm not here for girl hate. My big opinion on her, though, is that she's fucking annoying and I don't like her. Her big thing in Lily's book is that she knew what happened to their family and specifically why it happened, and didn't tell her for a really long time, which, again, I haven't read it in a while, so maybe if I read it back, I'd be like, oh, okay, I understand. But she's also like, knows that she has a bad habit of like dating toxic men, and that could be like a better conversation, I'm sure, somewhere, but it isn't a good conversation in these books. She is like fully aware that she dates toxic men. I think this is supposed to be enemies to lovers. I think that's the trope of this, because she is a witch that only knows that demons are awful and bad and terrible, and he is in fact a demon. But it's not enemies to lovers if it's lust at first sight, which is what all of these books are. It's not enemies to lovers, because if it was enemies to lovers, there would be actual animosity and hatred. And she like hates him, but she wants to fuck him really bad for most of the book. Until they do. And then this book specifically, okay, like, you know what? Like I said, there were some smut scenes that I were like Miss Smut scene where we level up a size, right? Even in that, I'm like, okay, interesting. In other smut scenes, I don't have a preference. I read fan fiction. I've read better smut, right? And I'm usually reading the gay smut. So all the other smut scenes, I'm like, okay, whatever. They don't necessarily like bother me, but I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not here for this. I understand that this is the series, but I'm not necessarily here for it. Iris and Meth genuinely disgusted me. And they have even less plot than everybody else. And he also like, he smokes because he's a demon. And she, like, knows that she needs to cut back on cigarettes. And, like, they don't do anything for each other. She is like, I need to quit and I need to work on the temptation. And he, like, doesn't stop. And he tempts her more, which I guess is the demon part of it. But the whole thing of this series is that they're evolving and developing souls. He doesn't care. I don't think they're a good couple. Iris irritates the shit out of me. I don't know, like I said, I would have to go back and reread it to give you very specific things. I just don't fucking like her. She is the least likable female lead in this entire thing. He is the least likable male lead in this entire series. I hate both of them. I didn't want a book of them. Their smut genuinely disgusts me. They're so gross. Iris is one of the characters, she's the first one we get, that's described as like almost anorexic skinny. Like eating disorder skinny. That's what the image is in my head. And she has blue hair and pronouns, which sucks. You can't steal my culture like that. But I can't stand her. And the way, there's a lot of eating out in these books, which I'm sure is great. I'm sure romance girlies would love to read some of that instead of just him being the biggest dick to ever dick. There's a lot of eating out in these, especially in this one, to a point that it pisses me off. But I find I think the way physically they're described, emotionally, the way they're having relations in this book, I'm genuinely disgusted by all of it. Again, the only saving grace of this entire book is Meph's demon form, my favorite demon form. Also, I completely missed the plot. The plot of this one is that there's another character that was introduced in book 2, other than Mist, who needs to steal a very specific grimoire. And he had made a deal. I don't know, he's a sneaky bitch. He had made a deal with the brothers that he wasn't going to go after them. He wasn't going to try to steal things that belonged to them or something. But he finds a loophole and he finds Valfor, who I mentioned in the last one, that killed Iris and Lily's parents, right? So Valfor is like stalking Iris and Meph because he finds out that they're together. They're not as slick as they think they are. And he kidnaps both of them because apparently Mist has all his brands and doesn't turn into a demon, because before he was found by his brothers, he was used by Valfor and he was abused by Valfor, because apparently Valfor is described as like having the head of a horse and like the body of a lion and legs of a goat or something. Apparently it's supposed to be scary. He sounded like a fucking loser to me. Regardless, none of the like demons scare me. I don't know if they're supposed to. I don't know if I'm supposed to be like ooky spookied. I'm not. So Valfor essentially kidnaps Meph and Iris, takes him back to hell. They defeat Valfor. Everything's great. That was part of the other guy's plan, right? That's the plot, really. And it's them like getting to know each other and like having emotional vulnerability. And it's all bullshit and I hate them. But when Meph is in his demon form, he is like one of the scariest demons that have ever existed, which I do agree a little bit. I do agree that this is like fuck around and find out. It's kind of spooky. Meph's demon form is the only one I like, which pisses me off even more because I hate Meph. Anyway, he can like make you hallucinate like your worst fears. And that's part of the reason why Valfor has always like abused him and like bound Meph to him so that it would never get turned on him, because it is like actually like terrible and scary. So we do not get Meph's demon form until most of the way through the book. This book is 373 pages long, so a little bit longer than the second one. And you do not get his demon description until page 243. So they're in hell. Iris is being like held prisoner. Meph is in like the middle of a sigil or something, and he's being forced to shift with the threat of Iris's life, and he's in love with her. Okay? His body was subsumed, I've never seen that word before, by impenetrable shadows, and then darkness stretched, glowing taller and taller until it loomed into the shape of a monster over 7 feet tall. His fingers were long, spindly, and spider-like, with an extra knuckle joint and knife-like claws. They flexed in a grotesque position like the mutilated hands of a skeleton. Okay, I'm kind of into that, right? He wore a cloak, the dark hood hiding his face. Whether it was an actual fabric cloak that appeared with this form or a cloak made of the shadows pouring off him like a fog from dry ice, she couldn't tell. We could have just said like a fog. Its gaping sleeves hung open at the wrist, so all she could see were those bony hands. He was huge. Of course he was. Long and slender, like a towering tree in a haunted forest, and his presence sucked the oxygen from the room. The complex sigil on the stone floor no longer seemed like enough to contain him. Cold malevolence radiated outward from the center of his being. She shrank back against the wall. It's so cold. Her teeth are chattering. And then he approached her. He either floated on the shadows pouring off him, or he scuttled on the ends like a million spider legs. Okay? And then she finally glimpsed what was beneath the hood. Sunken red eyes glowed from the empty sockets of a skull-like face. No, not actual eyes, just eerie lights that cast a faint sheen on his hollow cheekbones. His nose was flat and snake-like, and his mouth, God, she wanted to scream so badly. His mouth was a slash from ear to ear all the way across his face. No lips. It was parted to reveal teeth, so many teeth, and she was certain that when he opened his mouth all the way, his jaw would keep stretching and stretching into a yawning pit wide enough to consume anything. I'm into that, unfortunately. That is the best demon form we get in this entire series. Nobody else is good. Even the brother that, like, his his book isn't out yet. I'm looking to see my books. His book isn't out yet. Apparently he's supposed to be like the most important one to the plot of like overthrowing Lucifer. I'm not impressed with his demon form. I'm impressed with this one, which pisses me off even worse. You know what actually makes me the most bad about this book? Everything else in this book. It's very similar to The Piano. These two have the same fatal flaw where they fuck in a place that doesn't make sense. Again, the sex scenes are not for me, so I'm not rating the sex scenes. I don't really care about them. I'm just tired about the fact that it's constant and it's back to back to back to back. We do a thing. I'm sorry, I didn't talk about this. We do a thing in book 2 where we literally defeat like the androgynous bitch, scary one, right? We defeat that motherfucker in a very like graphic kind of upsetting way, right? We run into another demon who's a necromancer. Wink, wink, that's a spoiler. And we do like a lot. And the first thing they do when they get back from hell is bone. Personally, not the first thing I would do if I got back. Literally from hell and back. The first thing they do is bone. It wasn't even a celebratory bone. It was just to do it. What are we doing? Anyway, the thing about this book that pisses me off the absolute most, they kill Valfor, or they think they kill him. They like do a thing where they think they've killed him, right? Because you have to kill a demon officially in the lore of these books is you have to cut off their head and then burn everything with hellfire, or it has to be a consecrated blade from an angel. Great. Fantastic. The world building is interesting. I can get behind it. Wonderful. So they think they defeat Valfor. They haven't officially, but they think they do. And Mist in his demon form, because he like battles internally with himself because the binding and the tattoos and the right, they take Iris and they flee to a cave. Great. You can't get very far in hell, and you also have some unfinished business. They do kill Valfor in the end. They have some unfinished business. You're in hell. You can't get far. A cave is a good place to go. Let me get to the page because this pisses me off. This and The Piano genuinely make me so mad. The next time Iris opened her eyes, she was in a cave. It was dark, and the only light came from the red sky through the entrance beside her. She saw the outline of rocky cliffs in the distance and immediately recognized the mountain range beyond Valfor's castle. She could see this mountain range when she was in prison in Valfor's dungeons, right? She wanted to look out the cave mouth to get a better idea of how far they were from the lair, but the idea of her dragging herself that far seemed like too much trouble because she's injured. She got the back of her head smashed in like 3 times. They're near Valfor's castle. She can see the area. She's never been in hell before. She can recognize the area that they're in. They're in a cave very close by to the demon that's been imprisoning both of them and has been herding meth for centuries. They have sex in the cave. They have like multiple rounds of sex in the cave. And it's, again, disgusting. Like, genuinely gave me the ick. We're doing a lot of eating out, which is great. But it grosses me the fuck out. It's disgusting. It's so terrible. Because the way I can get behind the mouthful of teeth with the unhinged jaw. I love monster fucking. I can get behind a tongue that comes out like one of those little party things where you blow on it and it goes, brr. I can get behind that. When it's specifically Meth and Iris doing it in a cave that you can see the demon that's been keeping you both in prison for various amounts of time, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Is that supposed, genuinely, bitches that read romance, if you're here, genuinely, is that supposed to be hot and sexy? In those exact circumstances, is that supposed to be hot? Does that do that for any of you? Are you like, yeah, I would do it too. Does that do that for you? Now, before you answer the question, I have one more thing that I need to read you. They go back after they're done, after they do like 5 or 6 rounds of genuinely disgusting intercourse. They go back to the castle to like defeat Valfor once and for all. They do succeed, but this is, in between, they just took a little break in between. So they're back talking to Valfor. It saves me the trouble of having to hunt you down, Valfor said to Iris, though it wouldn't have been too difficult. My tracking spells told me that you were still within my territory and would have only been a matter of flying up there to grab you. Mephistopheles took you to one of his favorite caves. He often brings prey there to eat. So not only was it in the same vicinity and you could see the castle, but Valfor knew exactly which one you were in. Why are we fucking in a cave when we're in the middle of hell? At least Lily and Mist, God. At least Lily and Mist waited until they were back. I didn't understand why we were doing it, but at least they waited till they were back. You two fuck in a cave that Valfor knows where you are and was gonna come pick you up like school pickup. I can't yell. My family is home. I can't yell. I want to scream. What do you mean? Ew. So again, any romance girlies that might be here, genuinely tell me, does that do that for you? Are you into that? Where his fucking keeper and his abuser knows where you are and can come get you. Does that do that for you? Are you into it? Sorry, that was really extreme. I fucking hate this book. This is my least favorite book. This is probably one of my least favorite books that I've read ever. And it is definitely my least favorite in the series. That is your spoiler for my ranking. That's going to come up at the end. Another day, another sleigh. So we're starting on... Are you book 4? We're starting on the 4th book. Yes, this is book 4. So we're starting on book 4. This one, I actually have a lot of nice things to say about this one. It's not my favorite, but I actually have a lot of good things to say about it. So this one, Guardian Demon, it's what's his name? Rom. He's like the more low-key brother other than Ash. I think he has tattoos. He usually just like skulks around. He has like a weird affinity with animals. Apparently it's a thing that like demons and animals don't mix or whatever. And the trope for this one is forbidden romance because it's a demon and an angel. Her name is Sunshine. I have thoughts about it. I also think Sunshine is supposed to be black. I think she for real is supposed to be black. Actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, I think she's also like ethnically ambiguous the way she's written. I think maybe Eva is supposed to be more black than Sunshine is. Listen, I didn't write the books. I just read them, right? I need a tissue. I'm just here to critique. But this one, like I said, I actually have some praise for because it's an angel and a demon. There's like a lot of heaven and hell politics in this one, which is good because I'm a plot girly. Again, I know we're not here for the plot, but I am. There's actually a decent amount of plot in this one. And the whole thing with Rom and Sunshine is apparently they've been together before. Rom is missing like 300 to 500 years of memory that he just like doesn't know. And it was before he met up with the other demon boys, his brothers, as they tend to call themselves, although they all treat each other absolutely terrible. Have I said that yet? They all like are assholes to each other and they think it's funny. And I guess that's the demon part of them. But like my friends roast the shit out of me, but my friends also know when to take things seriously. And all of them need to be reminded when to take things seriously. It's annoying. Anyway, he's missing like 300 to 500 years of memory because they used to be a thing. And this specific angel, Raphael, I don't know the angel lore, right? I didn't pay attention at church. But Raphael's a huge dick in this one. I think I'm giving you more plot for this one than I did for any of the others. But it's like this one's actually interesting and actually made me like care about the characters and the plot that they're existing in. But Raphael is like jealous because Sunshine used to be like really important in like the angel council. So he fucks with her and Rom, and then like Rom loses his memory and is like a bad boy. And then Angel gets like, she was attacked. The way Raphael did it is he like did something to fuck her up, and like she gets like attacked and like maybe assaulted. I don't remember exactly, but it's like really messed up. But I have other comments. Anyway, so we're gonna get into the demon description as we do. Don't get too excited because Rom's demon description is not... Okay, Rom can like, he has a weird affinity with animals. It has everything to do with Sunshine. And he can turn into a crow, and he turns into like a normal earth crow, but his demon form is specifically a crow. There's not a lot of description of him in demon form because he's mostly like half shifted. And by half shifted, I mean he just like acts more animalistic, I guess, which, you know what? No, because he does act more like a crow because Sunshine glows in hell. I guess that's an angel lore thing, is they glow in hell. And Rom is very attracted to her. So like shiny things, right? So we don't get a lot of descriptions of him in demon form because every time he's in demon form he like can't talk, and if he can't talk and communicate with her, I guess it's not sexy, even though none of the communication is ever about sex until they're midway through. That's not safe, sane, and consensual. You cannot convince me otherwise. Anyways, okay, so this is Sunshine seeing him in demon form in hell. They're in hell. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? I'm in hell too. He was huge, towering, and formidable. Why wouldn't he be? His enormous body was covered with shiny black feathers right to the tips of 4 massive obsidian wings. Is this supposed to be Howl, but demon? His head was strangely reptilian, covered in leathery black scales instead of feathers, and the same gnarled scales she'd seen on his arms when they'd sworn their vow, and his jet black beak looked razor sharp. His legs were scaled like his head, with large curling talons. Though he had the same fan-shaped tail as an earth crow, there was something distinctly prehistoric about his featherless head and bright golden eyes. He was a giant dinosaur crow from hell. I actually kind of fuck with that, not gonna lie. I don't want to keep spoiling my ratings. I'm going to talk about it more, but this would have been my favorite for a lot of reasons if Mists and Lilies didn't exist. Anyway, so that's him in crow form, and I'm sure it's described again in this book. I didn't really have time to flip through to get more pages of the description, but he is a crow. He's a giant dinosaur crow. I've been watching a lot of like Pokemon theory and lore videos, and all I can picture is like Pokemon, just a mix of Pokemon. But he's a demon crow, and he can't talk because he's got the big beak, right? And most of the time, the only other time he like half shifts, like I said, he just like has golden eyes and maybe gets bigger. He probably turns 7 feet tall. Wow, earth shattering. Yeah, Sunshine glows in hell because apparently that's like an angel thing. His weird affinity with animals, he ends up working at an animal shelter. Congratulations, I guess. And it's very dog focused. And listen, I don't really like straight people, and I love dogs. I just don't want a dog as a pet, right? So I don't really care about the thing with animals. They basically end up adopting a dog and a half. Sunshine ends up working at the shelter with him or something. I don't know. They adopt a dog that's like very sweet. I think it's like a senior sweet dog that like was given up. She ends up being, right? She ends up being very sweet. I don't remember. Like I said, I didn't reread these. But then also, oh, I forgot to tell you, Iris and Meth have a hellhound. It doesn't matter. It's not important to the plot, but Rom is the one that takes care of the hell. I forgot, what did they call him? I don't remember. I don't remember what they called the hellhound, but Rom ends up taking care of him 90% of the time. I don't know why Meth and Iris are the parents of this hellhound dog, because Rom takes better care of him and like is written to be around him more. There's like 3 parts in Iris and Meth books where she's like, I carried the puppy home. Nobody cares because I don't care about you, Iris. But anyway, my thing with this book is I have a lot of praise for it, actually, because of the forbidden love thing. I think it was fairly well done. I'm not somebody who wants to pick up a book because, ooh, look at the list of tropes. I want to know the plot and I want to know what's going on. I'm not a trope girly, and honestly, books that like only tell me what tropes are in the book turn me off immediately. So it is a miracle that I've gotten through 5 of these fucking books, and I still intend to read the 6th one, right? But the forbidden love, the heaven and hell, the fact that they were like secretly lovers in the past and that Sunshine was always like a little bit bad, that kind of did it for me. I kind of liked that. That like this, again, this is one of my favorites of the series, which is, don't take that seriously. Saying favorite about this series is not, it doesn't mean the same thing as like my favorite book, right? And the way the politics are explained in this book of like their world, Aurora Asher's world building of heaven and hell, very interesting. It gets a little weird though, where at the end of the book, Sunshine is like put back to her former glory before she was found out and demoted for having relationships with a demon. It basically becomes like demon rehabilitation, but it feels this is going to be another comment I make it for the next book as well. It's a lot of ideas are really, really cool in this series, but because we're focused on fucking, because it's a romance or maybe an erotica, they all fall flat, and like a lot of stuff sounds really cool and then it just like immediately goes down because then it sounds very childish or just not very well thought out. And it's like, yeah, and this is how it works, but do you want to know how they have sex in hell? And their house It's you know those like really fancy rich people houses, and then there's like the like boat house or pool house or whatever the fuck. They end up living in the other brother's pool house at the end, and their house is like filled with gold, which is super tacky. Like I don't mind some gold jewelry every once in a while, but the whole house is like gold decorations, tacky as hell. And they fuck in the gold house, and that's like Sunshine's surprise for him. It's the politics of heaven and hell that like get that treatment. It's also, so I told you Raphael is like a bad guy, he's a douchebag demon, whatever, but then it's a whole thing. Eva gets trapped in it. Poor Eva, she has like no characterization after this, and she just keeps getting pulled into trouble. Eva gets captured, it's a whole thing. Raphael's gonna kill everybody, and then something happens, and Sunshine actually goes like badass bitch. I don't care for Sunshine, but this is actually cool. She goes badass bitch. And Angel, I don't remember how you kill angels. Demons I remember because they won't shut up about it. I don't remember how you kill angels, but Sunshine goes like nuts. It's like adrenaline and like grief and like, I can't believe Rom and I had been together for so long and you took this away from me, because of course he monologues and wastes everybody's time because that's what villains do. But she goes ape shit and like has his like big scary angel sword and like starts like hacking him up into bits, which I think is very interesting and cool. I'm realizing about myself as I'm getting older, I'm actually more into like horror stories than I ever was when I was a kid. I'm such a baby. I've talked about how I'm not a horror person, but I'm finding myself reaching for more and more books that like have horror in them. And Sunshine like goes in on it and she's going nuts, and she has that like moment where she's so focused on it and she has to be like broken out of it. But the thing with Sunshine, the way she's written this entire book, is she swaps wildly from like incredibly competent and like fighting to get back her position that she had before she was like I guess she was like a really important angel. Raphael found out that she was with boning a demon, caused her to possibly get assaulted, and then I guess when she like came back to heaven, they demoted her because she had been in hell for too long. Weird, right? But she's trying to get back to that position because she feels like that's what she's an angel, that's what she's supposed to do, that's her calling. So she goes from wildly competent and like she like stalks Rom for like 3 weeks straight, which is like, that's a little bit weird too. She stalks Rom for like 3 weeks. She like learns his patterns. She poisons him with angel blood. I guess angel blood is super deadly to demons, but because Rom has always had like a biting kink, he's like kind of used to it. It's a whole thing. She poisons him with angel blood. She makes a bargain with him, but making bargains with demons is like really complicated and annoying, very similar to like fae stuff. I'm sure any of you bitches that love fae romantasy, it's similar. She does like all of these things. She's so competent. She goes apeshit and cuts Raphael up into pieces. And she is the one that I think has the idea to sell him off to a demon that we got introduced to that becomes a big part. It's actually, his book is next. But she swaps between that and it's a wild swing to the other extreme to Born Sexy Yesterday. I don't know how to explain it very well because like I've read the exact definition online. I'll put like the definition here. But the whole thing with Born Sexy Yesterday is like you're hot and sexy and like an adult, but your mind, because like it's in a lot of like movies and media of like robots or like just things that aren't human but present as women and then exist in like the human world. It's the Born Sexy Yesterday where they're so clueless and they have no idea how things work, but a big strong man is going to teach them, and like they act very childish kind of. Sunshine wildly swings between those two things, and that's exhausting and I hate it because the whole thing with like the demon rehabilitation, like they're evolving souls, I feel like there is a way to write like innocence and like purity of an angel and just any character without making them childish. And that's why I struggle with a lot of straight relationships in media and honestly in real life too, especially the way influencers put shit online, because like she's an ancient being. Why does she act childish a lot of the time? You know what I mean? It just like, it really, really throws me off. And it was like such a bummer, the part about Raphael specifically, it was such a bummer because I was getting like really into it, and it actually gets like kind of graphic for like the 2 or 3 paragraphs that's in there. And then as soon as she snaps out of it, it goes back to like the like weirdly childish innocence. And I get it. I get that's not what this type of book is, but I was kind of hoping for like more description. And I was kind of hoping that like even the part with the other demon that we're going to be introduced to was going to be a little more graphic, and honestly it's not. They keep teasing me. Aurora Asher keeps teasing me with like, ooh, look at this, ooh, look at this, and then I immediately get punched in the face. Like Miss and Lily's book, the description of them in hell and like fighting and like almost dying to like this evil queen is so good. I'm so hooked, and then they come home and have sex and I'm supposed to be like, oh yeah, that's normal. What are we doing? What are we doing? So Rom and Sunshine's book ended up like I said, this is one of my favorite in the series. That's a low bar. This is one of my favorite in the series, but it is like wildly disappointing in a lot of aspects. And I hate the Born Sexy Yesterday thing. And I'm not saying that is definitely what was happening in this book, but it feels like that's what was happening in this book, and I don't like it. It pisses me off. This one's hard. Because this book, I was really looking forward to in this series. Like I said, I am too deep into this now. And I was genuinely looking forward to this one because the next book, Beauty and the Demon, you can actually see most of the cover this time while I cover up the barcode so I don't dox myself. I was really looking forward to this one. And yes, you can tell by the cover and the name that it is supposed to be like a Beauty and the Beast retelling variant. I only like Alice in Wonderland retellings and variants, all right? Nothing else lands for me. Actually, a couple Sleeping Beauty things have. Besides the point, I was really, really looking forward to this one. The main love interest, Murmur. Listen. So remember how I said that Mist feels like actual monster fucking because he's like a weird little lizard boy? This I was excited for because this also felt like actual monster fucking. Murmur is the necromancer. I was going to say a necromancer. He is the necromancer. That is how he is known throughout this series. He gets introduced in book 2 because he rescues Iris and Lily when they go to hell to rescue Mist. It's, again, the plot starts getting weird, and I didn't want to do comprehensive plot of all the books, but it starts picking up. Genuinely, it starts picking up. But he goes because he has a plan. He steals the castle of like the evil demon androgynous freak. Remember, equal rights. That has like Mist bound and everything. But then he goes and he tells Valfor about where Meth is so that he can find Meth faster. It's a whole thing. And what the whole thing about like this plot of this whole series culminating in like demons or evolving souls is they want to take Lucifer down, Murmur specifically. And Murmur has this like fascinating, like overarching through the books plan on how to weaken Lucifer so we can kill him and take over hell. Maybe not for ourselves necessarily, but just boot Lucifer out. He's had it too good for too long and we're sick of him, right? That's the whole thing with Murmur. And he has like, at the end of this book, he reveals like his plan has been overarching for all of the other books in the background. And you're like, holy shit, that's so cool. I'm going to tell you right now, never meet your idols. Never. I have a thing for necromancers. And then learning all the things that Murmur like tells you throughout this book, I have a competency king. I was really excited for Murmur. Every time he's popped up in all the other books, he's like a sneaky little freak. It's before you know that he's like kind of on the group's side, right? He's on his own side, but he's kind of on the group side. Morally gray. I'm into it. I'm so into it. He's been fascinating this entire time. I've been so excited. Never meet your idols. Never get excited about something, especially not in a romance book, and especially not these books. Never get excited about anything because you will, in fact, be disappointed. And I was horribly disappointed. Tell me how you have a demon like Murmur that's been secretly pulling strings behind the scenes the entire time, manipulating people and causing problems for all of the other characters that you're supposed to know and love at this point, and make him a fucking loser. He's a loser. He's a loser for most of this book. He gets better, like, he starts getting better, like, here. Okay? Maybe a little bit more. Maybe like there. And then I wouldn't say he's good at all until the end, where he dies. He dies in the end. Get it? Necromancer? He dies. He dies at the end, and then he becomes usually the only way I like to read men in any kind of relationship is where he's like so down bad for the girl he gets partnered with that like he's willing to die again for her. And he says it and he means it because he's a demon and a necromancer and he will do it again, right? That's the only time I really like men in media. He turns into that, but it sucks because the rest of the book, like I said, it's maybe like that much. Maybe like that much of the book. That means all of this, I'm trying to still cover the barcode. All of this, he's a fucking loser. And I don't know how you make one of the most interesting characters and demons in this entire series a loser, but somehow you did it. Congratulations. You shouldn't be proud of that. Oh, and I don't know what the trope of this one's supposed to be. She's a witch. Her name's Suyin. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I am. But she's like a super powerful, like, bloodborne witch. Oh yeah, there's a difference between witches and bloodborne witches. Lily and Iris are bloodborne. I don't really care. But Suyin is like a super powerful witch. And she's also low-key immortal? Immortal? Is that the word? She's low-key immortal because apparently she's 50 years old and everybody thinks she's like 26. Also, why are all of the girls written in like their, you know what? No, I can't actually complain because usually in things like this, the men are millions of years old, but the women are like freshly 18, and that always grosses me the fuck out. But she's actually like 50 years old, and turns out she's half demon. Cambion? They used a word like that. So it's kind of cool because like the necromancer and like a half demon, she does shift at the end. They do have sex when she's shifted. I forgot that, but I didn't write down what she looks like when she's shifted. She's slightly taller. She has long nails. Her eyes go black. Sorry, Suyin. I didn't actually care that much. But Suyin is another one that like was just driving me up a wall because she's apparently described as like this thin. Her tits are so small. She's like an A cup. Apparently Iris is like a little more endowed, and she's like super tiny. She's described as like the shortest of the short girls, and Sunshine is apparently supposed to be very small because don't forget, the men have to be bigly huge and the women have to be the most teeny tiny that's ever existed, right? So I forgot to write her description down of when she shifts, but I'm gonna read you Murmur stuff because Murmur, again, this feels like actual monster fucking, and it's like chef's kiss. I think they describe him better in the other books, but I wasn't paying attention when I needed to find that, so we're just gonna read what's in Murmur's book, right? So again, this is another case of stalking where he's been stalking her. Murmur's been stalking Suyin, and he's here to kidnap her, and this is what she's seeing before he stabs her with something that I'm going to tell you about after I read the description and takes her away to hell. The demon cut an impressive silhouette. He was easily 7 feet tall. What are we doing? I'm getting so pissed off. Is 777? I thought that was an angel number. Apparently it's a demon number, and honestly that would explain a lot about my ex in high school. But what is with the fucking 7 feet tall? I get it! With impala-like horns crowning his head, he held his chin high and his spine erect while he fancied himself royalty, but his imitating presence wasn't what caught her attention. At his feet, thick smoke swirled like he was walking on liquid nitrogen. Stray wisps rose and formed into hazy shapes backlit by torches. As the shapes coiled in and out of existence, Suyin swore she saw the outlines of faces and hands clawing at the air. Which is cool! He has this like cloud of souls around him, and it's described a couple times as like the faces forming and looking very gaunt and tortured, and I'm so into that. I love necromancers. Like, my favorite thing in fantasy is necromancers, magic users in general, but like necromancers, I eat that shit up. Watching season 1 of Merlin with one of my best friends, we still need to continue our Merlin marathon, but there is like a brief necromancer or like some creepy motherfucker at the end of an episode in like a jousting tournament, and that is the most excited I was for all of season 1. I love necromancers. So his demon form's beauty was marred by his apparent ... deadness. I'm eating. I'm loving it. His skin was a pale grayish white that she'd only see on corpses on TV. The coloring around his eyes darkened dramatically with shadows so deep they almost looked like makeup. His lips were bloodless and pallid, and his horns and claws were obsidian black. But his eyes were the worst. The whites were so bloodshot they weren't white at all, but a sickly pinkish red. His irises were a light blue so pale it was almost colorless. His pupils looked like tiny voids in the center of the circle of death. They were the exact eyes she'd seen in her dreams. Oh yeah, she has like weird premonition dreams about a demon coming to get her. Actually, a scorpion. We'll get back to that. His hair was pure white, the same ethereal shade that had caught her eye in the club. Oh yeah, he stalks her to a club at like a metal show. Looking back, she was a fool for not realizing that he was the second she saw him. No human had hair like that. No dye or wig was capable of achieving the remarkable snow white shade. It was unearthly. I think House of the Dragon would beg to differ, but, you know. All of him looked a bit like a zombie, the undead, a beautiful corpse. He was lean, perhaps too thin with his height, but he carried an unmistakable aura of power. With those ghastly souls swirling at his feet, haunted faces occasionally forming in the smoke, it was easy to believe it. Okay? So the other thing that I didn't care enough, I kind of gave up halfway through of looking for descriptions, is he also has like a scorpion tail. And wings at one point. I don't remember what the wings looked like. They were leathery appendages. That's what they were described as. I'm having fun, if you can believe it. So he also has a scorpion tail that he stabs into her neck to like poison her, to put her to sleep at some point. But then he like slaps her, not slaps, he does like the gentle like slapping. He's very gentle with her from the beginning, so he should know that he was gonna fall in love, but he has no emotions because he's a demon. Whatever, it's fine. And he like that, yeah, he has a scorpion tail. I don't know how I feel about the scorpion tail personally, and the wings could maybe, you know what, I'd take the scorpion tail, leave the wings. He can just have horns and a tail. I'm good with that. Like I said, I have a thing for necromancers, and in certain types of media, I'm not a zombie girl. I hate zombie stories. It's very upsetting and bleak and terrible, and I think with the world we live in right now, we don't need that. But I've never really liked zombie stories. One of my exes actually loves zombie stories. I think that explains a lot. Anyway, I keep doing this. You know why? Because they want romance to happen so bad in these. It's just fucking. They're just fucking. Oh, and at one point, Murmur uses his souls to, like, pin Suyin down, and I guess that's the kink, is, like, what is it called? Not handcuffs, but, like, he pins her down at one point using the souls, and he uses the souls a bunch of times to, like, really scare her, which is also kind of fucked up, but again, I like that he's, like, morally gray, probably just morally not great. I like that, and I like that he's, like, a fucked up little weirdo, and then I like that he is still a fucked up little weirdo, but, like, goes so down bad for her that he's like, if anything happens to Suyin, I'll kill everybody in this room and then myself, and I mean it. I'm into that. But how is he a loser for 90% of the book? Please explain it to me. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. You cannot give me a good character and be like, actually, he's a fucking nerd. Because he is. He's a nerd. He's also, like, secretly really nice to the demons that, like, run his castle. And Suyin, he betrays her at one point and, like, carves something into her skin, and she believes him when he lies to her. And then he, like, fully plans on killing her, but then realizes, oh my god, she's in love, and he's developing a soul, and doesn't do it, and then kills himself. And then Suyin has this whole, she flip-flops a million times, which I also hate that about the way female characters are written a lot, like, especially in romance, I feel like, where they're so competent and they're so set and they, like, make a decision, but then it immediately just disappears as soon as the man walks back onto the set. It irritates the life out of me, because Suyin is fully planning on, like, never forgiving him, but then forgives him, like, after a couple more weeks of stalking. I mean, he's using this couple of souls he has left to protect her. He stops a tray of cookies from falling on her head. The tray of cookies being on top of the fridge is bullshit. That pisses me off. I hated that. That was, like, such a weird... What are we doing? What are we doing? What am I doing? I don't need to be here. What am I doing? But yeah, she, like, gives up on being mad at him, like, immediately and trusts him again. Even though she, like, says it, she's like, it's gonna take a while to build trust. And then, like, time skips maybe a month, and she's like, I trust you. I'm in hell Forget the rest of them traveling to hell. I'm in hell. I'm there. I guess now it's time for my final ranking, and I may have ruined it already and, and basically told you, but I wanted to do like a final ranking at the end. So my number one out of the series, which again, please take me saying these books are my favorite for these reasons with a big old grain of salt, because I don't like any of these books. I do want to buy them. I do want to have them on my shelf. I'm kind of waiting for the last one to come out because I have a feeling, because it's going to be 6 books, I have a feeling deep in my soul that there is going to be a box set. I really like the sprayed edges and everything. Like, I really am enjoying it, and I do enjoy these covers for the aesthetics. However, I don't really enjoy these books. I do plan to get a box set at some point when the box set comes out. I know in fact that it will in fact come out. No, in fact, that it will, in fact. What am I, a romantasy writer? Anyway, I do plan on getting them, but it's to the point where these books are like my trashy reality TV show. You know those reality TV shows that you don't like? You're not going to tell people you watch them. It's embarrassing. You spend the whole time pissed off at the people on it, and you're like, there's no way this is real. Reality TV isn't real. But you know what I mean? You're watching it and you're like, this is shit. Why am I stuck here? I've been here for 3 hours. Why am I here? That's how I feel about these books. I hate them. I'm not going to recommend them to people. Actually, my best friend, I've like weirdly recommended it to her because she loves this shit. She eats this shit up. And again, I'm not judging you if you genuinely like these books. If you read them and you're like, this is actually my favorite book ever. I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you that I hate them and I don't like them. But I have committed too much time to them, and I am going to get a box set of them. Weird dichotomy, right? The human mind. All that is to say, don't take me saying this is my favorite out of the series as like, this is a book that I recommend. I don't recommend it. I don't want anybody else to suffer the way I have suffered through these books. Like I said in the beginning, it's not quite my Haunting Adeline, and it's not quite my Gothicana or Nocticadia. That was the other one where it sounded like Rachel was in absolute hell. They're not quite on that level for me, although I'm getting to the point where like maybe this is my Haunting Adeline. I feel like when I read the last book, I'm not gonna like it. I hate, not as much as Neff, but the last brother, Belial, I don't know how to say his name. Again, I don't remember heaven lore. I didn't pay attention in church or in Sunday school, but he is going to be the last brother that gets a book, and I don't like him. And it's been picking up every like other chapter. There's like at least a section. He either gets a whole chapter, it's a short chapter, or there's a section, and he's been getting moments in the last 2 to 3 books, and they're really like driving home that he's going to be the one to like defeat Lucifer and everything. Literally, Murmur set up a whole thing that he was going to be the one to do the big thing that weakened Lucifer. It was a whole soul thing. And I was like, okay, I'm not looking forward to that, but maybe things will get interesting. There is a human, her name is Sky. She's introduced in the first book as like Eva's friend that like works at the bar that Eva plays music at, and she was brought up again in Murmur's book, and Murmur's book is significantly longer than the other. Well, not significantly, but it's a bit longer than the others because it has a lot of information about Belle and things that Belle is up to, and he's going through like Sunshine's demon rehabilitation thing. And I was like, okay, this might be interesting if he ends up with this girl, Sky. He does a thing where he like low-key traumatizes her because she doesn't have the sight, so she doesn't know that he's a demon. So when he does like a scary demon thing at one point, she just like thinks that he's like a scary, abusive guy, right? Right, fair enough. I thought it was going to be a lot more interesting if it was like the archangel. I think he's like the fallen angel. Archangel, I don't know. But he's like the guy between heaven and hell. Like everybody in there knows him and they're all scared of him, and he's like the big bad, right? But he's a good guy. I don't know. So I thought it was gonna be super interesting if like a human and him were going to be together. I actually could get behind that more than anything else because we've already done the human thing. Actually, no, we haven't, because they're all some kind of magic. Never mind. So that would have been cool. I think that actually would have been really cool if it was like a demon and a human, and he's like the big bad, and she's like something about her is special. I kind of like that. I, in fact, have main character syndrome. I love the thing of like, she's just a normal girl until there's something about her. I kind of like that. It's not well done. a lot of the time, especially not in romantasy, but like I'm kind of into it. I like to see where that goes until it goes bad. But he's not going to end up with her. He's going to end up with this other bitch that's like super rude to him. And again, I'm not usually here for girl hate, but these women are not written well. And these women are written in a way that makes me want to hate them. Damn it, Aurora Asher, you got me doing misogyny. So he's going to end up with this succubus lady. She's like a head succubus. And apparently she's like Lucifer's right-hand woman. And I don't want to read it. Just like I didn't want to read Meph and Iris, I don't want to read it. I'm going to, because I've committed to it, but I don't want to read it because I know I'm not going to like it. I think the plot I'm going to love, but the relationship I'm not going to like because they're also not nice to each other. They're also both using each other in unhealthy, uncomfortable ways. And I don't know why I'm supposed to like be into that. Like, is it like titillizing? Like, what do people like about things like that? Because they're both awful to each other. They both use each other. They're both just mean to each other all of the time. Why am I supposed to be into that? I don't know. All of that is to say, my final ranking, my favorite book of the series is My Demon Hunter. Mist and Lily are the most tolerable couple. It has a lot of, like, my ranking is like based off of a lot of things. Mist and Lily are the most tolerable couple, and that is like a big part of this. If we're focused on the romance part of the romantic fantasy, that's why they are the most tolerable couple. I think their relationship is probably the best, the most healthy, other than Lily's crippling insecurity that I have to hear about every time I have to hear about the fact that she's having sex with him. I think they're the best. I think Mist he's not my favorite demon form, but he's a freaky little weirdo, and it actually gives monster fucking energy, which you know I love. I keep saying it this entire time. You're learning things about me that I'm sure you didn't want to know. And their flirting is cute. I like how they flirt. Okay, whatever. My second favorite is My Guardian Demon. Again, Rom and Sunshine, they really pulled out on this one. They just like squeaked out ahead of somebody else. They managed it because of the forbidden love and the actual history. Aurora Asher did a good job with this one because she didn't just say they had a relationship and it's forbidden love because they're angels and demons. She actually gave me like a backstory, the way that throughout the book, Rom's like remembering fractures of things. Like at one point when they are meeting for the first time and she's like, well, I'm Sunshine and like, I need you, because she like traps him in a sigil. She introduces herself and he gets a flash of a memory of the first time they meet. And instead of using her actual name, she calls herself Sunny. And then he starts calling her Sunshine. As the book goes on, you get more and more, like, instead of fragments, you're getting actual memories. And I just think that was super well done. I do really like that. That's kind of it. That's kind of it. That's kind of what I like the best. Third book, my third favorite, middle of the ground. Somebody had to be in the middle, right? It's My Funny Demon Valentine, the first book. It's very boring. Compared to all the other books, plot-wise, couple-wise, just everything, they're boring. There's not much to Ash. There's really not much to Eva. The most interesting the book gets is at the end, where they almost kill Meph. I would have preferred if they did. Speaking of, next favorite book, and you know, somebody had to be a fourth. It's actually the fourth book, Beauty and the Demon. The plot was better. However, the way I was horribly disappointed in Murmur, he could have been 2 or 3, but I ended up being so disappointed in him. Again, he gets better near the end. Thank fuck. But for the fact that most of the book, he's a weird loser, like not in like oh, he's kind of weird. Like he's a weird loser. And I hate him for most of the book. And he only gets better in like that last like 10, 20%. I don't know how to do percentage. I'm not good at math. So he could have been higher. That book could have been higher if Murmur wasn't the biggest disappointment of the entire series. And you guessed it, my least favorite book out of the series so far. We still have another one. Maybe I'll do like, should I do that? Because the book doesn't come out oh my God, that book comes out next year right after my birthday. It comes out during my birthday month. I think that's disgusting, but that's probably going to be my least favorite. And I'll probably do, what is it called? Fallen Demon, because he used to be an angel. I will do a review on that one next year, and then we'll do a real final ranking. But for right now, my final ranking is at number 5, Demon with Benefits. I fucking hate him. I hate both of them so much. I can't stand them. They're terrible. They're the worst ones. And again, horrible shame because Meph's demon form is the coolest fucking one, and I want to talk to Aurora Asher, not at gunpoint, sorry, I'm American. I want to talk to Aurora Asher because why did you give the shittiest character the coolest demon form? I don't know if this is just like a thought I'm coming up with in my brain or if I have a memory that I can't remember of her saying something somewhere. Why do I have this weird feeling that Meph is like her favorite? That's probably why she gave him the coolest demon form. Son of a bitch. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys liked it. This is a really long one, and this is the one that I've wanted to do for like a while. I just have not had time to sit down. Where did the books go? I threw them all over the place. I just have not had time to sit down. I only have 2 of them left. I returned all the other ones to the library because one of them was due like the day after I filmed the first part. But I haven't had time to just sit through and like go back and flip through and find everybody's demon descriptions. I haven't had time. And like I said, I haven't reread these since I read them. Like this one, I just finished. I'm trying not to dox myself. This one I just finished. This one I haven't reread since I read it. I had to take all these books back out so I could do the research I needed to do. So let me know if you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. If you want to talk about this or like you want to know a little bit more about it or something, I don't know, leave a comment if you're interested. I've never done like a book review thing before, and this is actually super fun. I know it wasn't like, I tried not to be overly comprehensive with the plot of each one because like we were going to be here forever, and this is already a really long video. But again, please leave a like if you enjoyed and if you like book review things, because maybe I can do more of these every once in a while. This is actually super fun. Again, huge shout out to Natalie Megan of Weirdo Book Club and Reads with Rachel from Reads with Rachel. I love both of them so much. I feel like Icarus going a little too close to the sun because this feels like it's becoming my Haunting Adeline, and this feels like it's becoming my Gothicana and Nocticadia, okay? It feels like we're getting there. My absolute nightmare to have to get through. And yet, I will subject myself to it. And you know what's amazing about these two? I'm getting these all free from the library. Having fun isn't hard when you have a library card. And I don't know if anybody saw that Fox News thing about Fox News saying that libraries are drug-infested sex dungeons. Drug-infested sex dens. Honestly, after reading these books, I feel like it. But having fun isn't hard when you have a library card. I'm a librarian. You should get a library card. And you can read shitty books that you hate and regret for free. And you're not spending money on them. I haven't had to spend money yet on them. I've just been waiting for them to come out through the library. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm not going to repeat all my other stuff. I will see you in the next video. Bye! 1 like on this video, and I will subject myself to reading the last one. I'm going to do it anyway. You don't have to like the video, but a like would be nice.